A$AP Rocky just announced a new project that is dropping. Well, at least a disc 2 for Don't Be Dumb. This was actually promised by him right after release of this record, but now we've officially gotten the info that the rollout is starting, so today we'll go over all of that. So let's jump straight into this. If you want to stay up to date with everything surrounding hip-hop, make sure to subscribe and also become a part of this community by joining our Discord server in the description. So y'all remember Don't Be Dumb, January. A lot of people really liked it. A lot of people also didn't find it that exciting. I'm still a little underwhelmed by it, but let me know what your first receptions about Don't Be Dumb were and how they have changed up until now, because I always find it interesting to take a look at a record 2 months later, 3 months later, even half a year later, and kind of reflect how it has grown on us, especially in this case when we can now officially talk about it again. Because if you take a look at this right here, OG, or A$AP Rocky in the name of OG, took to X to announce rollout number 2 loading. And obviously this refers to the rollout for Don't Be Dumb and the second disc for Don't Be Dumb. Now, when we first saw this, I saw a lot of people be kind of freaked out by this, saying, oh, there's a second album coming to this. And some people obviously said deluxe, but it's definitely sure to be a second album. But this is not a surprise at all, because right after Don't Be Dumb, the first disc, the actual album that we've all listened to, dropped in January, we actually got the announcement from him that there was a second disc coming. This was on the Joe Budden podcast, and he actually said a couple of things. Here is a clip of that. This record, this disc 2, would be coming right before the tour starts for Don't Be Dumb. And if you take a look at the announcement that he gave us on his social media, we know that the tour is starting on May 27th. So if we get a rollout now early March and then the record drops in April, then he was right. This record was coming right before the tour started on May 27th. He also said that a lot of the beats on there were made by Metro and Mike Will Made It, which I think is a cool sign. He said it's more conventional than Disc 1 and has a lot of features, which could be a positive for many people, and it potentially has a Rihanna feature on there. And so we know that this second disc was planned for Q2 of 2026, which is what we are now entering in April, which is right before the tour starts in May, on May 27th. So this would all work out completely fine. And the thing is that he hasn't delayed the tour since. It's nothing that gets in the way of this. So this thing actually releasing that day or before that day is pretty much also now confirmed, and especially him announcing this rollout now gives it a little bit more credibility than it had already had. Now, a lot of people saw this critically. I even raised some concerns in my video on this as well, because again, we have this pattern of not dropping a record and letting it speak for itself. We now have a second record that is being pushed out right after the first one. With this second disc, you could say that he doesn't just want to let the music speak for itself. He immediately has to have this other project up in the air again that people should get excited about. That is kind of the next big thing that we just kind of hang on to and just kind of get over the little bit of a drought that we have in between album release and a tour start, for example. But in this case, it was obvious all along from the beginning that there was going to be a second disc to this. And if we're being honest, he is just now executing what he's promised us, what he's planned, what he's announced all along. So this isn't a surprise that we're getting the second disc. Also, we just kind of have to wait and see what it actually is, because we don't have any info on this. We talked about this thing supposedly being more conventional than the first one. And a lot of people already thought the first one was kind of conventional in nowadays terms, even though in Rocky style it was a little bit different. He tried different sounds, and I think it's good that he's kind of experimenting around. Is always something that we want to see from artists. Now, I'm not sure if dropping a second disc to a record that you would have just had as your own standalone project, where you promise is going to be more conventional, there's going to be more features on there, and maybe even a Rihanna feature, which sounds like that was supposed to be the big hit album. has a lot of features, a lot of people in the industry coming up, is more conventional, so is more kind of adjusted to the sound that people want to hear from Rocky and from any artist nowadays. It maybe even has a Rihanna feature, which is obviously the big thing, the elephant in the room that we were also discussing right before the drop of Don't Be Dumb, just because the two are obviously married, they have kids together, and we thought that maybe we could see a collab between the two, especially also since the two of them have made music in the past, or at least collaborate in the past, and we know that that would work as well. And I mean, a Rihanna feature is always something special because we don't get that ever. So this would have been the perfect opportunity. Maybe we're going to see this. When you ask me when is this thing going to drop, if we take a look at the calendar, we can see that March 27th, so the date that the tour is supposed to start, is a Wednesday. So he said it's going to drop right before the tour starts. So does that mean it's going to drop May 22nd? I'm not so sure. We could even see a release in April now. I do not think it's going to be this March. We went over this quite a bunch of times. We have this upcoming March 13th still open. But if he just now said that the rollout is loading, I doubt that we're going to see a release date in a couple of days, because the rollout needs to happen first. And we always thought that Drake could drop this Friday. Then next Friday, the 20th, we have Central C dropping. And the Friday after that, the 27th, we have Yeet dropping ADL. And so we're already in April. This is going to be an option for the 3rd, the 10th, the 13th, or the 24th. And then we're getting into May with the 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd. Those are the possible release dates. Obviously, still a lot of open dates. It's still like 8 weeks that he could drop this. I just wanted to name those because we are looking at a possible release date before May 27th. So we're going to have to wait and see. But I do want to say, for everybody, all of y'all that bought tickets, that purchased tickets to the tour, you can get excited to hearing even more new music than you already got on Don't Be Dumb. So if you were one of the people that's immediately copped tickets after the pre-sale started in January, I believe late January, then you can look forward to hearing even music you don't know yourself, because that's going to be on the second disc, which I do think is pretty cool. And so all in all, I think this is good news. It's not great. It's not like he just announced something crazy, because as I said, he is just executing what he was talking about all along, what he promised, what were the signs hinting at all along. So this isn't actually something brand new, but it's definitely something that I'm happy about, that he now comes through, because he just as well could have just not dropped this record, just announce it, talk about a second disc, because he wants to get people hyped about it. He wants to maybe also bounce back a little bit against the backlash that some of the comments about Don't Be Dumb were right after release. Maybe that was part of the plan, and now he's just dropping it, so I think that's good. I do want to know what y'all think about this. Are you excited for Disc 2? How do you see this? Were you surprised when you saw this announcement? And what do you want to hear on there? What do you make of the more conventional sound and maybe even a Rihanna feature? All your thoughts on this, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.